Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we could do a little evening sewing vlog. So I've got about, let's say, an hour and a half before I'm gonna be too tired to function and I'm gonna need to go to bed. So I'm gonna see what I can work on tonight, get something done, try something new. So I have previously talked about sewing a vest this season, and I found a free pattern, which I will link in the description in case you guys want it too. It is pretty size inclusive. It goes up to a 4XL, which is a 53-inch bust, which is great because I'm always finding patterns that don't go up to the size that I need. So this one was great. It's called the Reverie Vest, and it has kind of a V-neck and it ties right here. So we'll see if I do a tie or if I do like a button closure or something like that. I haven't decided fully yet, but when we get there, I'll decide. But first I need to figure out what fabric I want to use and if I have the fabric that I need for it. So I'm gonna make a 3XL so that it can go over thick sweaters and things like that. So I can use it as a layering piece. Measuring over this, I would be a 2XL, and I just want a little extra move-in room, you know? So for that, for a 3XL, it says I need 1.5 yards. Now, I found this in my stash, and this is probably something that you're never gonna be able to buy, so I'm very sorry. This is probably from my mom's stash because I did not buy it, therefore that's where it's from. So I need to find out how much of this I have because I think it would make a really cute vest, especially quilted, because you could quilt it along the lines anyways. Oh no, there's definitely not enough here. 1.5 yards, let's see. Let's do an actual measure here. That is just over 1.5 yards, so that's exciting. Then I'm gonna get to use this for this because it's a little too heavy for like a shirt or something like that. How wide is this? I didn't even take that into account. It looks 45 to me, but yeah, 45. So we're definitely going to use this, but it needs a lining fabric, which means I get to make it reversible. So I don't really have like big pieces of things that I can use. So I was thinking that even though I really love this and I think it would look cute with it, this big plaid, it's kind of the blue and the green and the reds, and I think it looks nice. This is like not quite a big enough piece, I don't think. And it's kind of it's been cut through a few times. And it's got a really nice drape as opposed to this, which is more like a quilting cotton. I don't know. The drape is just really nice on this, so I'd rather use it for a shirt or something like that. So we're gonna put this one aside for something else. And I'm looking for things that are more, I think, dark for the season. I could make something out of this, but I have a lot of it. So I don't wanna use it for this. I'd rather use it for something else in the spring, probably. I don't have a ton of like plain colors. So I was thinking that I could maybe patchwork a little bit. I've got so many quilting projects, but it's fun and I'm having fun. I was thinking maybe I could patchwork these together, the green and this like maroon color. Maybe a little bit of the plain reds, so that the pattern is reversible to something Christmassy, so I could wear it at Christmas. That would be fun. Every year after Thanksgiving here in the US, my extended family, we all go out to dinner for Christmas kickoff dinner, and it would be fun to wear something homemade and cute to that I made. I could even maybe add in this gingham. It feels a little bright, but we'll see. For tonight though, I am thinking that I am going to get the pattern put together because it is a print offline pattern and it's still stacked up like this. I just took it off the printer. I am going to make sure that I printed it correctly before I get started. Always good to check. Which way? 1-inch scale. I did print it correctly, which is the first time I've ever printed a pattern offline to use. So that is a bonus. Let's move the other quilting project out of the way, and then we will get started on putting this vest pattern together. Cool? It was about this moment when I realized that although the sizing chart on the pattern went up to a 4XL, the pattern did not. It only went up to an XL, and that I was going to have to grade this pattern up a couple of sizes for me to use it. So that's what I'm doing here. We are on night 2 of working on this vest project. Last night I did not get as much done as I expected to. That's kind of what happens with tasks. Things that take a little bit of time I think are going to take a long time, and things that are going to take a long time take a little bit of time, if you know what I mean. So I got the pattern graded up. I think I made up some of it, truly, I think I did. And I'm going to start by ironing my fabric and then laying it out to cut and seeing if I can get it cut tonight. I've got an hour, maybe 2. Let's see what we can get done. Okay, so we have come up on the folded part of the fabric where it's been folded. And since this is fabric probably from the 80s or the early 90s, I'm going to pay really close attention to where it's been folded. One of my lights is trying to go out. So I'm going to pay really close attention to where the fold is, because there might be some discoloration or deterioration because it's been folded for so long. So just quick tip, thought I would share that. Look how cute this is. I have been wanting to use this fabric for ages. This is the first pattern that has really felt right for it, so this is exciting. So, reading the directions, this pattern says to cut the back bodice on the fold, which makes sense. And then the directions are written kind of weird, because it says of the main fabric, cut one this side, so like this, and then cut one on the reverse. But if you fold the fabric and you just don't cut the fold, that's what you're doing. So it seems like an odd direction, because if I cut it, let's double check. Yeah, because if you cut it like this, it'll be like cutting it here. And then also cutting it there. Yeah, that seems like such an odd direction. Okay, first I have to get my fabric laid out so that I can cut it. So we're gonna start there. I'm gonna move this out of the way. I don't know where it's gonna go. In the seat with my sweatshirt because it got hot in here. Or back here. We'll make do. Okay. And I am not doing the bows, so I'm saving a lot of fabric doing that. So I might be able to get like a skinny tie out of this. And now that I'm thinking about it, how cute would it be to make the tie so that when it's finished, you can like see the line of the print? That would be cute if I have the fabric for it, which since I'm not doing the big bows, I should. So we're gonna try that. First we have to line this up, which is really easy when, with a knit, this is really, can get much more difficult to line up the grain. But with a stripe, it is not quite so bad. Now I know I'm not a sewing education channel, but I promise to always share with you little things like this. when you are sewing or learning to sew, there's gonna be something called the grain line. And the grain line is like your straight grain. So like on cotton, there's no stretch. So the grain line is gonna be parallel to these selvage edges. So you saw me like finagle with it to get the grain line even, because they're never gonna cut the fabric totally straight right off the bolt. So you have to get these even so that when you're holding it up, there aren't any like wrinkles in it, so that it's all like taut and the grain line is even. So this has the grain line marking here and here. So I'm going to, I can't talk while there's a pin in my mouth, put this one right up along the fold, because that's where it says to cut it. I'm going to pin it down, and I am going to triple check with any ruler, but I'm going to use my seam gauge, that this, when I put it up even, is also even with this, which it is. On quilting cotton like this, on wovens like this that don't have any stretch, it's a little bit easier to find. Every fabric is going to be a little bit different. So I need one of these. So getting the grain line right is going to be a lot harder in this fabric or in this pattern piece, because it doesn't come up along the fold edge. So I'm going to disregard the pattern here. I'm sure it had directions on it. I've got this as close to this as I can so that I don't waste fabric. And then I'm going to line this up, this grain line up, with one of these lines. So maybe this is enough. So I have this up against this, and it's pretty straight, but it's not quite straight. So there's going to be a little bit of adjusting. So I'm going to put one pin down in my grain line arrow, and then I am going to adjust that all the way across. Okay. So this should go, not quite, okay. That is pretty darn close. Okay, so now I'm gonna pin this pattern piece down, and we're going to speed through some cutting. And then I will come back and we can talk about the ties and make some patchwork decisions for the inside of the vest. I actually think I might have enough to patchwork this on the inside, so that'll be cute. So I have decided what pattern I want to do for my vest. And I think it just uses half square triangles now that I'm looking at it. But it ends up looking like hourglasses. Here's the picture I'm looking at. I'll throw that up on the screen so that you can see it too, because I think that'll patchwork out relatively easy. It's going to be a lot of cutting. If I do the half square triangles like this, because if I did a 6-inch, say if I did a 6-inch, it's that big, each of those triangles is only going to be that big. And I want to be able to see this pattern, the blue pattern, and I think maybe a 4-inch finished. It's not a very big pattern. So I've got a pretty big piece of this. Let's see what I've got going here. got a decent size of the blue. I'm gonna have to iron all of these. That's probably the last thing I'll do tonight. This looks like it was gonna be a bandana, but I can make that work. I've got a lot of red, so I'm not super worried about the red. Yeah, I've got this and I've got all that. And then of all of my greens I have, which I don't have a ton of, I really like these hunter green ones. And it looks good with that. And this red looks good with this. And these things all look good together. So I've got a lot of this green. So I'm gonna try not to put too much green on green together. So it'll probably end up being quite a bit of this, quite a bit of the little green print, and red. Oh, I can do the straps. I can work on the straps for the last 20 minutes. I've got about 20 minutes left, so I am going to cut these so they look like straps. I'm not 100% sure how I'm doing that yet. All right, I think that is all I'm going to do on the sewing front tonight. If you would like to see more videos like this one with realistic sewing nights and other fun hobbies like this, go ahead and subscribe. I put out videos every week on Wednesdays, and I will see you all next time. Bye.